Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about effective note-taking for public speaking. We have already talked about the different types of speech delivery styles, and I'm going to mention them again just to refresh your memory. There's the manuscript or the teleprompter. There's memorization. There's impromptu. And then there's the type that we do most often in this class, and that's called extemporaneous speaking. Now, what extemporaneous speaking means is that you have a complete speech outlined and you have practiced it several times, dare I say many times, but every time you deliver that speech, it's going to be a little bit different. And the reason is different things happen when you deliver a speech. The audience is responding to you in a different way. And so I'm holding up a spiral bound set of index cards. Now, I bought these at my local dollar store, and you can do the same thing. And we don't need these little indexes that are in here, but what we do need are the index cards. And the reason I love these spiral bound ones so much is that one of the fears that public speakers have is that they will go up to the podium like this with their well-practiced speech and their index cards in front of them of keywords, and then can you imagine what might happen? They drop them. So I always tell my students to number your index cards, because maybe you won't find this handy dandy spiral bound set of index cards. And so if you don't get the spiral bound one, and you have just regular index cards, number them. I'm going to show you, 1, 2, pretty simple, right? Because what you want to do is never forget the order of your cards if you should lose the order or they fall down. All right, so let's think about this for a minute. Let's say that your speech of introduction, your speech begins with, imagine for a moment that you have been invited to give a public speech and you have been asked to talk about your research subject, women in the American presidency. Where to start? All right, so that's my introduction. That's my question that I begin with. Am I going to write that verbatim on this sheet, on this index card? No. I am instead going to write the word introduction because that's my introduction. And then I'm going to write, imagine you are invited. And then what I always do is I put a little ellipsis. That's all I need, right? Because I know the introduction. I know that question that I want to say. Today, I will share with you some of the most salient features of my research from more than 20 years of discovery of the topic of women and the American presidency. My name is Nicola Gutgold, and I'm a professor of communication arts and sciences at Penn State Lehigh Valley. And after listening to this speech, you will know, and then I go into my main points. So my note card for my introduction might be imagine, reveal the topic, let's discuss, credibility, and then I'm previewing the body. You will know. Now notice what I did with that. I also, as I mentioned before, I turned it into a comment about what you will get out of this talk. So look at my index card. Can you see what it says here? Very little, right? There are just a few notes. What don't I have on my index card? I don't have full sentences. Do you know why? Because if we put full sentences on our note cards, do you know what we do? We read it. And I don't want you reading your speeches in this class. I don't want you reading your speeches in life. So this is the extemporaneous note card tutorial, if you will. And so get yourself some index cards. You can also make them out of paper, but index cards are nice because they're a little thicker and they're easier to move from one to the next. And take this cue and also read over the note card section in your textbook to know exactly how to make your own reading note cards, because you are just going to glance at them. And how many times should you practice your speech before you actually record yourself for the class? My guess, my advice is at least between 5 and 10 times, a complete run through of your speech. I know this is a time dedication, but trust me, The one thing that you can do to make yourself a better public speaker is speak. I look forward to your speeches.